Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Key Weekend 1090. Am I the asshole for watching my sister's wedding and reception devolve into a shit show without helping? I, female 29, got married last summer. We had a child-free wedding that caused lots of drama with my family. My mom, especially, is upset that we would not allow any kids under 15 at the wedding. My husband and I paid for a separate event for kids. Childcare was provided by professionals, and there was all kinds of stuff for the kids to do. Movies, video games, food, soft drinks, everything you can think of. Is it bad I want to be part of the kids' party? I feel like I'd be the only adult there, like, yeah, this is great and all, but like, I'm pretty sure I just saw a kid double-fisting pizza and a Slurpee while playing Galaga, so I'm gonna go over there. Sorry. My sister lives for my mom's approval, and when she planned her wedding, she specifically did not exclude children. She did not arrange for a separate room where kids could relax or anything. There were probably 20 kids ranging from a couple of months old to 15. Babies cried during the ceremony, and my nephew smashed his mom's phone during the vows and then screamed about not being able to watch YouTube. My mom and brother had to take him out of the ceremony since his mom was one of the bridesmaids, so they missed some. My mom hissed at me to help, but I am 7 months pregnant and was not going to miss my sister's wedding. The pictures went worse. Families thought it would be a great opportunity for group pictures with everyone dressed up. This caused delays, and the kids and many adults were getting hangry. At the reception, some of the older kids got drunk. One puked in the corner. Lots of noise and crying throughout the night. I would love to say that one of the kids destroyed the wedding cake, but that would be a lie. The cake made it safely to the cutting. It was delicious. However, lots of little handprints did appear on my sister's dress and my brother-in-law's tuxedo. And one table had the tablecloth pulled off with all the glasses and dirty dishes. Not by a child, by one of our adult cousins chasing his kid. My mom and sister are upset that I didn't help wrangle the kids. They think I purposefully didn't help to make a point. Once again, I am 7 months pregnant. I'm not in any condition to chase kids. They also blame me for the people saying that my wedding was better organized, like I'm responsible for what other people are saying on social media. I told my sister that she was the one who wanted kids at her wedding. She said I was an asshole for saying I told you so. My mom is upset that her favorite child's wedding went so poorly after mine ran like clockwork. She actually said that my sister deserved to have a wedding as perfect as mine. I agreed and sarcastically wondered what the difference could have been. She said I was being a jerk. I attended the wedding as a guest. I wasn't part of the planning or execution, but now they think I'm somehow responsible for not stepping up to help. Am I the asshole? Obviously not. Like, this whole situation is just goofy as hell, and having kids at a wedding is just a recipe for disaster. When my mom was getting remarried when I was like 7, it was taking place in an apple orchard. I think a lot of you might see the problem with having a bunch of kids running loose in the middle of an apple orchard. Yeah, let's just say all the kids who were dressed up nice ended up getting into a mushy apple fight. Didn't go well at all. It might partially be because I, started it. But in my defense, I was 7, and I was left basically borderline unsupervised for 4 hours in an apple orchard, while everyone else was trying to plan wedding stuff. I don't know what they expected for the kids to do, but it very quickly devolved. Okay, it probably wasn't 4 hours, it was probably close to 30 minutes, but I was 7. I'm pretty sure there were older kids supervising, but I don't think they were really paying too much attention considering how quickly everything devolved. But I definitely learned my lesson, with it being a hot summer day and now covered in apple juices, and having still the rest of the wedding ahead of me. I for sure in the future will be plagiarizing OP's wedding and stealing that idea for myself. And it's going to be very difficult for me to attend the correct wedding party despite me being the groom. Familiar Order 3583. Am I the asshole for teaching my nephew how to swim against his parents' wishes? When I say swim, I really mean teaching him to tread water and doggy paddle and the beginnings of a breaststroke. My nephew is 6 years old. When he was 2, he fell into a pool at a friend's house after a gate was left open, and his friend's mother saved him. My sister-in-law was understandably very traumatized by the experience, and since then, he has been banned from being near a pool or close to any body of water. This poor kid went to the beach and wasn't allowed to be more than 10 feet close to the surf. She is in therapy, and they keep saying eventually they'll teach him how to swim. But at this rate, he would have been a teenager before that happened. I was at my mother-in-law's house this weekend, and my nephews and nieces were there to use her subdivision's pool. Nephew was being looked after by her, and she was going to stay behind with him while my husband and I, and some of their parents, took them swimming. I said, fuck it, and took him along. My in-laws were all saying sister-in-law would be pissed, and I knew she would. But I think it's insane that he has no ability to even try to rescue himself if he falls into water again. I was with him in the water, one-on-one, the whole time. He loved it. Wasn't scared at all. I didn't hide it from brother-in-law and sister-in-law at all, and they are completely pissed. My sister-in-law because I took him swimming, and my brother-in-law because I upset sister-in-law. My brother-in-law actually told my husband he thinks it's a good thing my nephew started getting swimming experience, but he has to side with his wife, which is understandable, obviously. Sister-in-law wants an apology and a promise not to do it again, and I won't give. I'm not actually sorry at all, and if they don't even try to teach him, I will continue to do so. Number 1, because of the safety, and number 2, because it is extremely depressing when we're all going to the pool and have to tell him to stay behind and he cries about it. Am I the asshole? I don't know what the term would be for this, but your sister-in-law is enforcing her trauma onto her child. It is extremely scary that that happened to him when he was 2, and he is extremely lucky to still be here. Yes, 100%. But wouldn't that just be all the more motivation to make sure he can swim? To make sure he's safe in the water rather than banning him from having fun near any kind of body of water? Ironically, by preventing him from learning how to swim, you're increasing the chances of him never being able to actually rescue himself in a future situation. Swimming is a crucial life skill. Not only does it enable him to have fun with other children and to actually enjoy summer and to enjoy the pool and to enjoy the beach, but it also makes sure that he's safe. Not the asshole, but you might need to have a conversation with sister-in-law about how her trauma is actively harming her child's life. Suspicious Radio 6166. Am I the asshole for kicking my brother out for flirting with my wife? My 25 female wife, 25 female. That's not what that said at all. God damn. My 25 male wife, 25 female, have been together since high school. She's sweet, smart, soft, shy, and fiercely loyal. And this situation just proves that. I love her more than anything. She's the love of my life. My brother, 35 male, recently got kicked out by my parents because he's never worked a real job. Just weird, low-paying nonsense, and recently quit another one of those weird, low-paying nonsense jobs. My parents understandably lectured him again, and he lost his crap. From what my mom told me, he was gonna go be homeless, so my parents begged me to let him live with me for a while. I decided to help. My wife also decided that maybe we could help him. The conditions were that he'd clean his room, look for a job, and not be a lazy bum. My wife and I both work from home, so we'd be with him the entire day. 6 days ago, my wife came to me and told me he was flirting with her. Like, not just saying she's pretty, but more like telling her he'd give her a better life, and telling her sleep with him. She insulted him quite badly by calling him a useless old man that's nearly 40 and doesn't even own a car or have a life or even a girlfriend. To that, he responded by being rude to me in my own house, telling me what to do because he's older, and my wife telling me made me see why he was acting like a child. I told him to get out of my house. We ended up fighting, swearing, and screaming for about 10 minutes. When my wife called my parents, who came and picked him up, my wife was crying while my parents shouted at both of us and shouted at me. For what? I really don't know. He started the shouting, not me. After they left, I was just so angry and cried to my wife. We both cried for a good 10 or 15 minutes and watched a movie afterwards. I chose the perfect date. Yeah, I'm corny. Say what you want. My brother is back with our parents, who are now pissed at me. I don't feel like the asshole, but at the same time, I kinda do. Thank you for reading. I look forward to seeing your opinions. Dude, your brother sucks. Like, that's just not even open for discussion. He's just quite the character, I guess. I can't even imagine being 35 and going to live with your younger brother who's 10 years younger than you, going up to his wife and being like, yeah, I could give you a better life. Let me sleep with you. Buddy, you unironically have better chances at seducing an ostrich. Actually, that's a really sad fact of captivity. Ostriches that are kept in captivity really struggle with finding other ostriches interesting and will instead only find their human captors interesting and will actively try to mate them or solicit them for, well, activities. And the scientists who did the studies realized, wow, these ostriches are really happy to see us. Are they trying to fuck us? And, well, turns out yes. Kind of fucked up, not gonna lie. But yeah, long story short, dude has no game whatsoever, and I cannot believe he thought that would work. Also, if I had to put money on it, I would guess the parents are shouting at OP because they couldn't just pawn off the deadbeat brother onto him, and now we're back to being responsible for him. That's my personal headcanon, is that's why they were shouting and angry, because they have to take care of him again. Commercial card 2855. Am I the asshole for not letting my in-laws make mixed drinks with my good booze? The title says it all. I like to bring home hard-to-get or expensive bottles of booze as souvenirs when I travel. Stuff you literally cannot purchase where we live. A simple example is rum that is only available for purchase from the distillery in Jamaica. I can only get more if I go to Jamaica and get it. My wife's brother and sister-in-law were over last weekend, and we were having a few drinks. Rum and cokes, mostly. I had a bottle of rum out so people could make their own. My brother-in-law decided it wasn't good enough and he wanted the rum from my liquor cabinet. He asked me for the key, and I said no. I said if he wanted to try any, I would pour him an ounce to sip and enjoy. But it wasn't for mixed drinks. He got all pissy and called me a snob. I offered to sell him the bottle for what it would cost me to replace if he really wanted it. He declined. My wife says I should have just let him have some. I said I would if she gave her makeup to the kids to use in the coloring books they were working on. She called me ridiculous, but wouldn't let me give her lipstick to the kids to use as red. Okay, so OP is an asshole, but not the asshole at the same time. Justified asshole. Like, you're being an asshole about making your point, but you are justified in doing so. And honestly, because your wife doesn't seem to be on your side or understand what's being asked, I think that kind of just directness is what's needed here. While I personally don't care for high-end expensive bottles of alcohol, I know that some people do. There's some really cool bottles out there, and I get it. Some people collect different things. I collect Warhammer. I'm starting to collect Gunpla. Kind of. It's a bit of an offshot. Now, you guys will see during the streams I plan on hosting. But if I had family over and it was asked, like, oh, could my kids play with your little Warhammer figures or your Gunpla figures? It would be a no. Those are model kits. Those are things that I built and painted and worked on and I care about. They're not for kids to play with. Same goes if I had family visiting and they're like, hey, can I play Fortnite on your gaming computer? No. This isn't a gaming computer. This is a work computer. Yes, it has all the aspects of a gaming computer, but this is for my livelihood. You can play on the Toshiba. To someone on the outside, it might come off as snobbish or it might come off as gatekeepy, but it's just protecting the things that you care about. And while some people might not understand why a bottle of booze is something to care about, keep in mind this was purchased during a trip to Jamaica. There's probably sentimental value attached to that. There's probably stories surrounding it. And every time he looks at that shelf, it's a memory of that. It's a reminder of the life that he's led so far. And no one seems to respect that. And when brought with the option of, yeah, you can have a sip or you can have the bottle if you're willing to buy it off me, no, I don't know if I really want that. You're just being a snob. They have the expectation that because they're his guest, they have free reign to all of his stuff. It's not how that works. It's entitled. And while OP was definitely harsh to the point with how he approached responding to his wife and the brother-in-law, it was justified. It was needed. Asked a girl 07. Am I the asshole for cutting off my sister after she tried to charge me with assault and my mom encouraged it? A bit of backstory. My family has always been messy because of my parents' divorce. My mom, 44, has always tried to be more of a friend than a parent. Lots of partying, drugs, and instability. My dad was emotionally distant but stable. Growing up, I was the eldest daughter, so I ended up playing mediator and basically parenting for my younger sister. 2020. When I was 19, my mom ignored a custody order and moved cities with my sister. After things blew up, my sister got dropped at my door and I ended up looking after a high schooler. While barely an adult myself, we became really close during that time. Eventually, she moved back with our mom, who was still partying and dating questionable people. I'd constantly get calls to rescue my sister, organizing Ubers, talking her through unsafe situations, dealing with my mom drunk and yelling at me on the phone. I felt like the responsible one for everyone since I was about 15. Things changed when my sister got her first boyfriend. Overnight, she became distant and started acting weird toward me around him. We eventually fought one Christmas because I couldn't afford a present, and she demanded $100 instead. After that, we barely spoke for about a year. Fast forward to now. In 2024, I was diagnosed with epilepsy 2 weeks after finding out I was pregnant with my second child. Overnight, I lost my license, couldn't be alone, started new medication with heavy side effects, and was dealing with a high-risk pregnancy. It was a really vulnerable time. I tried to reconnect with family for support. My dad stepped up and helped a lot. My mom didn't. A couple weeks after serious seizure episodes, I visited my mom's house. My sister was there and we agreed to start fresh. One day, we went to lunch with extended family and things felt off. My sister kept undermining me in conversations. I became a nurse first. Her epilepsy isn't that serious. My mom also made a few digs at me after drinking. Later in the car, they both started attacking me for rebuilding my relationship with my dad. I stayed quiet and said I didn't want to talk badly about him anymore. They called me pathetic. Back at the house, things kept escalating. Snide comments, laughing at me, generally trying to wind me up. I was already dealing with medication side effects and pregnancy hormones, so I tried removing myself a few times to calm down. That night, I went to grab chocolate I had bought. Pregnancy craving. I couldn't find it and spent about 20 minutes looking. Eventually, my mom and sister revealed they had been hiding it and were shoving it in their mouths, laughing after watching me search for it. I snapped. After a whole day of being mocked, I lost my temper. My sister threw the empty wrapper at me and I instinctively threw it back. It accidentally clipped her nose. She immediately started screaming that I had assaulted her. My mom joined in and they both started yelling abuse at me. I apologized and tried to talk it out, but my mom started chest bumping me and they kept insulting me. I put my daughter to bed and decided to leave the next morning. A few days later, my mom sent long messages calling me a terrible mother and saying I traumatized my child. I finally unloaded years of frustration about my childhood and their behavior. I did apologize for losing my temper, but explained how overwhelmed I'd been. She responded saying she wouldn't read it, and that my sister had seen a doctor for ringing ears and blurry vision and had taken a week off work. Then she warned me my sister was at the police station. My sister messaged me saying she wanted to charge me with assault so I couldn't get my nursing license. I blocked them. 2 hours later, a police officer came to my house about the complaint. I told him everything, and he basically told me to avoid them, and that it sounded like they were doing it out of spite. Nothing came of it. It's been a year and people keep telling me, "It's family, you should make up." But honestly, my life has felt lighter without them. I have 2 kids now and I don't want the same chaos running around them that I grew up with. The only thing making me question it is that I'm getting married soon and people keep saying I'll regret not having them there. Am I the asshole for cutting them off instead of trying to fix things? There is an update, but I'm going to say no. I think you'll regret having them at your wedding more than you would not having them. Yeah, a lot of people might say, but they're family. But yeah, they're not your family. You didn't grow up with them. You didn't deal with them. They got the police involved over a chocolate bar wrapper specifically trying to ruin your life. Yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable not wanting them at your wedding. On to OP's update. First off, thanks everyone. I feel pretty validated that I'm not the asshole here. The timing was actually funny because today I received a letter that I'm pretty sure is from my mom. I say pretty sure because it's clearly her handwriting, but she somehow managed to spell my name wrong. Even better, the envelope arrived in one of those clear plastic "sorry we destroyed your mail" bags from the post office, saying the letter was damaged in transit and the contents were missing. So whatever she wrote, I'll never know. Honestly, thank you to the postal gods for that one. A few things to clarify. 1. Why I was at their house. I went over there because I had a new medical diagnosis at the time and needed someone supervising me. And that's how they treated you? Jesus Christ. 2. My child. My child has never been left alone with them, despite them pushing for it. 3. The family dynamic. I grew up in a very toxic environment, and it took me a long time to recognize how much it affected me. From around 15 onwards, I put myself in some pretty bad situations. Domestic violence relationships, assault, addictive tendencies, surrounding myself with the wrong people. Meeting my partner and having kids forced me to completely turn my life around. But it also means I sometimes second-guess myself. The child in you still wants a relationship with family, even when they're toxic. My dad is a very stoic man. When I tried to talk to him about it, he just said, if you don't involve yourself, you won't get caught up in the drama. I think he knows exactly how my mom and sister are. I think he wants to focus energy more on making up for lost time without discussing the obvious. A bit of a mutual understanding. 4. Just make up with her, comments. The people saying this are basically my aunt, grandmother, etc. They know my mom has issues and actually agree with me, but she's extremely manipulative and very good at making people feel sorry for her. It's the same thing she did to me growing up, and now with my sister. 5. Wedding advice. A lot of people suggested warning my wedding vendors and possibly having security. I honestly hadn't even thought of that, but you're probably right. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to show up. At this point, I'm realizing I might have to reevaluate not just my relationships with my mom and sister, but that entire side of the family. That's a tough pill to swallow. Honestly, I wouldn't call this family. These are just people who you happen to share genetics with. They're definitely not family. They don't treat you as such. They're assholes, they're bullies, and honestly, the best thing you can do to get back at them is to live your own life and live it the best you can. If this is how they treat and act someone who's pregnant with a high-risk pregnancy and was just recently diagnosed with epilepsy, then yeah, these aren't good people. These are awful people. People who you would be far happier keeping as far away as possible. Don't let your family guilt-trip you into rebuilding a relationship that they definitely don't give a shit about. You've already done the work to grow out of this situation and to become a better person and to start a family and to be a loving mother. Break the cycle and keep them as far away as possible. Stieg Larson. Am I the asshole for calling out house guests who didn't ask to stay? My daughter and her husband just moved in with me to save money. They were living in a town that his family lives in / his hometown, so his family is sad to see him go. His parents followed after them the weekend that they moved back. That was cool. I figured they were just staying close to them for the weekend to say a last goodbye and hang out a bit. I got home on Wednesday after work and found out they had invited themselves to stay in my house. I don't really know them. I've only met them 3 times or so, and this is only the second time they've been to my house. They joked about how they would stay at my house instead of getting a hotel. I didn't know what to say, so I went to bed early that night and told my daughter I wasn't happy and wanted to know what their plans were the next day. They slept in the lounge and slept in until 10 a.m. The lounge is in the center of the house next to the kitchen. We were all tiptoeing around until they got up. I had to speak to them about boundaries, and though they nodded and made the right sounds, I got the message that they felt like I was being unfair. They even said that they would let me stay at their house if it was the other way around, and the mother started crying about how much she was worried about her fully grown adult son and was fretting for him. She explained that she just thought I'd understand because I'm a mom too. I explained that I don't see things the same way they do, and I felt like I lost control of my home. They fully took over the kitchen the night before, and not to mention, again, they were not invited. They invited themselves. I don't know what happens from here, but I don't see this being the last issue I have with them. I want to support my daughter and her husband, but I never agreed to let his parents use my house to visit him or anything at all. Is this situation outrageous on their part, or am I inhospitable and mean? Update. Sorry to clarify for all those asking. The parents went back to their hometown yesterday after I spoke with them. When I said in the original post, I don't know what happens from here, I meant I don't know if they will try and cross that boundary at some time in the future, but I'm ready and clear with my response. I spoke to my daughter and sister-in-law about boundaries. There are no overnight stays. Let me know if there are visitors coming. If that is respected, we can spend time with his parents, but they can't take over my house and they're not staying. For the people on here saying I'm the asshole for not speaking up straight away, I know that. I agree and I'm pissed off at me too. I know what my boundaries are, but I don't always enforce them straight away and I need to get better at doing that. Also, you'll see, I used paragraphs. A common thread that I thought was worth taking note of. User PutCharlie76 comments, I'm wondering why his parents didn't take them in if the goal was just to save some money. User Fantasy Bookkeeper comments, probably because the couple doesn't want to be around the toxic mother-in-law/mother. She invited herself into another's home and is now playing victim about it. That does not sound like a pleasant woman to be around. User Tech Morris Production comments, nailed it. The immediate use of weaponized tears and the I thought you'd understand as a mom. Guilt trip is textbook boundary stomping behavior. She's testing OP's defenses in week 1 to see exactly what she can get away with. But yeah, OP is definitely not the asshole. This is weird behavior. I feel like maybe they were even trying to see if they could get away with staying there for an extended period of time to keep near their kid. And I get the impression there's some unhealthy dependency on the mother-in-law's side here, and that's why she's here. And I definitely agree that they might be trying to escape that. Also, just from like a me standpoint, I genuinely cannot imagine just showing up to someone's house and expecting to stay there the night. That's an invasion of someone else's privacy that I just physically cannot do. Around in circles. Am I the asshole for not giving my daughter a key to her car? Alright, I have 2 kids that are really close in age, 8 months apart. One was adopted as preteen and is biologically my niece. The other is my bio son. They are kinda going through some of the same milestones at the same time. The big one being driving. My daughter took nearly a full year to get her license. I've been telling her since before she was 15 that if she wanted to drive, she needed to do a few things, like get a job, pay for part of her insurance, pay for any gas that is not gas she uses for family things, and if she wants free reign of the car, she has to buy it off me at market value. I have told my son, who's a few months behind her in the process, the exact same things, and is getting his license a few weeks after turning 16 versus waiting until nearly 17. My daughter has been driving a car I have owned for 5-ish years, that I bought to turn into a 4x4 toy, but never got around to. It's a Chevy S10 Blazer. Nice. My son asked for my help to find a vehicle. He wanted a truck, but nothing came up that was in a reasonable price range near us, so we bought another S10 Blazer. Original, I know. Both are happy with those vehicles. We live in a rural area, and they meet their needs and are in reasonably good shape. They have had very different approaches to the process. My daughter took a lot longer to get her license. She often turned down opportunities to drive, meaning it took a lot longer to get her 30 hours of driving in before she could get her license. She has failed to get a job. I've even taken her to look for a job, and she has refused to fill out applications and has ignored calls from potential employers. My son has taken every opportunity to drive, has asked for extra opportunities. The day he was 16, he had a job lined up. He's been working hard at that job, to a point where his boss reached out to tell us how good he's doing. He has already paid me for his part of insurance from money he had saving up before he got this job, and has a plan to buy the car I bought for him to drive off me within the next 3 to 4 months. He is looking to get his license next week. My daughter approached me the other day to ask for her own copy of the key for the car she drives. I told her no. She has not met the minimum standard I have asked her to when it comes to driving. And while I let her drive at my convenience, she will not have free reign of a vehicle she has not put any investment into. And if she wants to have that ownership, she needs to do the things that I've already told her I need her to do. She is pissed at me, saying I'm treating her unfairly because her brother is getting his license so much sooner than she did, and that he gets to drive his car whenever he wants, despite being on his permit still and only driving with me or my wife in the car, and that we're giving him privileges she is not allowed to have. I'm very frustrated because I don't feel like my expectations are unreasonable or unclear, but she's acting and saying that I love him more than her. So, out the gate here, not the asshole, but there is a bigger picture that I do want to discuss. So, it's not favoritism for you to give them both the same expectations and for your son to hit those expectations and he receives the reward for those expectations, and your daughter not hitting those expectations and you deny the reward until she does. If you were to simply then allow her to circumvent those expectations, that would be favoritism. Maintaining those expectations and maintaining those requirements is equal. But equality isn't always fair. Now, there is a comment from user Boysenberry Jellyfish that I think is actually very much relevant and provides an insight that I literally cannot provide because I don't have the age or experience to do so. Not the asshole, but I think I, 44 female, see something that you might be overlooking. You're doing an excellent job keeping everything equal between them. I'm actually really impressed, but things actually aren't completely equal. Hear me out, I'll explain. There's this old video somewhere online explaining privilege and why it doesn't always work in treating everyone equal in certain areas. So they had a bunch of people line up at the starting line, and then said things like, everyone who went to private school, take one step forward. Everyone whose parents are still married and living together, take a step forward. Everyone who's male, take a step forward, and so on. Basically listing little things that we generally don't think about, but as a society make getting ahead in life easier. Then, when it was time to run the race, the people who had the most of these little advantages in life were starting their race much further ahead than those who didn't. It's a very good visual explanation why people who didn't have those advantages in life need a little extra help when competing with the people that had the advantages. Yes, you are doing a fantastic job at keeping everything equal between your two kids, but you said that your daughter was adopted as a preteen, whereas your son was your biological child. So regardless of how great you're doing and how equal you're making things, your son has had you and your great parenting from the beginning, whereas your daughter has clearly suffered from some sort of loss and trauma. So even though you have them running the same race, she's starting a little further behind than he is because he has more of an advantage always having you. Based on what you're saying about your daughter, it sounds like she might be dealing with some anxiety and/or difficulties launching into this new phase in life. Anxiety often comes hand in hand with trauma and loss, and it makes things like driving and holding a job much more difficult. I'm not saying you should lower the bar you've set. I'm saying I think you need to give her a boost, a shove, depending on how frustrated you still are, lol. I think the first thing you should do is take her to the doctor and have her evaluated for anxiety, first of all. Also, some counseling, if you aren't already doing that with her, might help. Help her find some volunteer work that you can do with her to ease her into working and being more independent. Hold her hand when she'll let you. I know, teenagers bite sometimes. Also, let her run her own race. Don't compare her accomplishments with her brother's. I understand that he's doing things earlier than she's doing in this phase of life. But that's okay. My second kid was running at 11 months. My eldest didn't walk until 15 months. And my third didn't walk until she was almost 17 months. My first and second both had speech and language delays and didn't speak properly until they were 6. My third was speaking in paragraphs and arguing like a lawyer by the time she was 18 months. While I'm aware of their differences, they're all different people, and they're all running their own races, accomplishing their own accomplishments to the best of their abilities in their own time. As long as they're doing their best, it's fine. It sounds like you're doing a great job with both of your kids. The goals you've set are totally fair and reasonable, and that your daughter just needs a little extra support than your son did to reach those goals. I'm happy someone was able to put this into more eloquent words than I ever could, because I was trying to find the exact way to explain this, and this comment just did the job for me. I think it would be fair for, OP to check in with his daughter and be like, okay, what can I do to help you reach these milestones? What can we do working together to make sure you can hit this milestone? Still the same expectations, but I want to give you the little bit of a bump that you might need to reach them. That's not favoritism, that's just being a loving father. Well, hello, welcome to the outro. Don't forget to use code OZZ at checkout with Gamer Subs. You can actually get a packet of free samples shipped to you if you want to give it a shot without having to commit to purchasing anything. So you can do that and use code Oz. I've got a few projects for the channel in the works here that I'm excited about that'll be interesting and actually starting to drop tomorrow. So it'll be in the prototype phase. It's definitely kind of running and trying to change the tire of a car as we go. But, yeah. So keep an eye out for tomorrow. You know, I'm starting to wonder if maybe it was not a good idea on the weekend that I wanted to have off for myself just to have a stay-home-cation, to have not only stories about Kevin, an hour and 30-minute long video, while also launching my own bespoke subreddits. Perhaps the aluminum bat was destined for my shins all along.